Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2 is the third movie of Marvel Phase 3, and it is the 15th film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. God damn, it's 15 movies? Good lord. So anyways, in this movie, we are met up with Guardians of the Galaxy. We get to see our ragtag teams of intergalactic heroes. We have Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and, of course, Baby Groot, as long as some new additions to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And in this film, we get to explore who Star-Lord's father is, who is played by Kurt Russell. And we also get to see, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? What is his motives? As well as we also discover some more stuff in this film, like the relationship between Gamora and Nebula, Yondu and his role in Peter's life, as well as some other stuff, as well as these gold people that is after the Guardians of the Galaxy after one of them steals something, and now these gold people are pissed. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this film, but I think it all meshed up perfectly for each other. Now, we all remember the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It was one of my favorite films of 2014, and as much as I love the film, it wasn't particularly my favorite Marvel film, but I do appreciate it for what it was, and it was pretty much a well-successful film that everyone loves. And while some of the action in this film is bigger and better, but it's more bigger and better in terms of the characters. This is a more character fleshed out film. And to me, that was the real strength of this film. So again, we get Star-Lord played once again by Chris Pratt, who is perfect in this role. And we see his father, who's played by Kurt Russell. And the dynamic between them two, and we get to see who Star-Lord's father's motive is. And I felt like that story arc was the real strength of this film. We also are, once again, we got Rocket Raccoon, played once again by Bradley Cooper, and we get to see why he is the way he is, why he's a bit of an a-hole, and why he steals stuff, and maybe there's more to him than we know. And again, I also mentioned another strength of this film is the relationship between Gamora and Nebula, because as we all learned in the first film and got chase of it, they are both the adopted sisters of Thanos, and I can imagine living with Thanos would be really, really horrific. And we get to see why Nebula is the way she is and why she's resentful towards Gamora, and then Gamora, she comes to that realization, and then we get to see the both of them form an alliance. And of course, we also got Baby Groot. Yes, Baby Groot, he is all over the marketing for this film, and he is just as cute in this film as he is in the marketing. And they are gonna pretty much market Baby Groot, and I can imagine someone is coming from California or wherever the fuck Marvel Studio is. There's a big giant hand reaching in the pocket saying, "Hey, you like Baby Groot?" And boom, Baby Groot is gonna sell like hotcakes. But for what it's worth, Baby Groot was really good in this film. He was just this cute little plant monster, just being by Rocket's side and just doing all these cute things, and he did have a lot of humorous moments. But to me, the real MVP of this film is Yondu. Yondu, he was a lot more fleshed out in this movie than he was in the first film. And we also discovered the relationship between him and Star-Lord in this film. And like I said, he is the real MVP of this film. As for Drax, didn't really do much with him in this film. He has a lot more action scenes in this film, but he's just really there to be the comic relief in this film, and Dave Bautista plays that right. The humor in this film works. As you know, the humor was in the first film, and in this humor, they kind of bumped it up a little bit, but I feel like the humor in this film didn't really overtake the film. And of course, the action in this film, like that first action sequence, it involves the Guardians and Baby Groot. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but it's just cute and awesome at the same time. And the climax of the film really had me on the edge of my seat, and there's also a scene that involves Rocket in the woods facing a whole bunch of Ravagers. What I love most about this film, I think really, honestly, I'm going to just say right now, I kind of like this film better than the first film, because I think what I like about sequels is they build upon the world that they established in the first film, and I felt that's what this movie did best. And it also built upon the characters they established in the first film. Now, as much as I am praising this film and all of its best qualities, I gotta address the negatives. Like, again, Drax, even though I like Drax in this film, and even though he got reduced to just being the comic relief in this film, they didn't really develop his character that much in this film. And all the stuff between him and Mantis really didn't really work for me. The gold people, while I understand why they were used in this film and they were used perfectly, but at the end of the day, they were just used as side characters, and in the marketing they made it seem like they were going to be the main villains of this movie. It's really not. I'm not going to spoil who the real villain is, but it was just the ultimate misdirect, which I appreciated it though, but they were just side characters. They were useless. And even though I like the humor in this film, it did kind of get repetitive. Like, you stay at one joke for like a whole good 5 minutes and you're just like, you're still on this joke. And again, I loved the music in the first film. The soundtrack was just awesome, and in this soundtrack, I feel like it was kind of a missed opportunity. There are some songs on the soundtrack that I like, but it was just some of the songs, like I've heard that most of the songs on the soundtrack are about one hit wonders, so that's probably what it is. So I don't know why, but there's just something about the soundtrack that just didn't really capture the magic for this film as the soundtrack did for the first film. So, and I know it probably seems right now that I'm probably comparing this film to the first film, and I really don't mean to do that. I try to be fair, though. I try to judge the film on its own merits, but I just can't help it because right now I feel like this movie, even though I like this movie just a tad more than the first Guardians, I do feel like it's still on par with the first Guardians, though, and it's probably because, you know, these particular set of characters are just so detached from the characters in the MCU that, you know, you got to see them interact with all the other characters in the MCU. I think ultimately the thing about this movie is, you know, this film is the sequel to the first film, as this Age of Ultron is the sequel to the first Avengers. And, you know, I think the problem with this film is it's the same problem everyone had with the problems with Age of Ultron compared to the first Avengers. You know, I think the thing is, like, everyone was just so mesmerized with that first film. They get to see these characters for the first time and do something so different. And then we get to the second film, it's like the magic is not gone. So it's like everyone has to get used to that. It's not going to recapture that magic. And you just got to accept the movie for what it is and just be happy that you're with these characters and that they're building upon the world. And I think that's ultimately a lot of people what might have with this film. So with that, I really did enjoy this film. Like I said, I enjoyed this film just a tad more than the first film, and I can't wait to see what they do with them next, as well as how they're going to interact with the rest of the characters in the MCU coming to Avengers Infinity War. I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 4 stars for worth money. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, go ahead, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more, check out my channel. The link is in the description below. And be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Periscope. Peace.